Welcome to It's Still Happening, the only podcast created to inspire and support women who are the first in their families to break generational patterns, raise the bar, and create the life you desire and deserve through ancestral healing. I'm your host, Ash Johns. I'm an author, guide, and creative. And what I know for sure is we all have generational debris and generational superpowers within us that impact who we are, how we show up, and the quality of our lives. It's my hope that you both clear and connect with yours, experience the transformation that naturally flows as a result, and step into your power and leadership as a creational woman modeling what's possible when we heal and grow from our roots. If you've always felt called to walk your own path in life and are ready to create a ripple effect in your world, you're in perfect company. And if you've been desiring to break barriers and know that the past, present, and future are always intertwined, you found this podcast in divine timing. This is your invitation to pull up a chair and get out your notebook as I teach lessons learned and insights emerging from walking my own path of freedom. I hope to inspire you to do the same. Let's get into today's episode. Everyone talks about surrendering and stepping into the unknown, but what does that even mean, right? I'm so excited to be back for It's Still Happening podcast with you guys. It has been a while, and we have a lot of updates for this season. So first things first, I'm Ash Johns. I am a guide, a mentor, a muse, a creator, and a lot of you guys know me as an ancestral healer as well. I've been going through a lot of transitions, and so is the business. So this last and final season of It's Still Happening podcast is dedicated to all things related to evolution. Now, before you start getting worried or upset or frustrated because you just found the podcast or you've been one of the fans of the podcast, when I say it's the final season, I'm just letting you know that we are transitioning to an episodic format of the podcast. So what that means is that we won't do season by season, season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're just going to have episodes released every week or every other week as I see fit and as blessed by spirit. So that feels really, really good in my system. And I hope that's something you can celebrate and look forward to yourself. But I want to get back to what you can expect from this new season as we're kicking off. And this idea of surrendering into yourself or being able to surrender who you truly are has been resonating in my heart so deeply. And it's the reason why I get to show up and evolve this podcast, evolve my message, evolve my work, evolve my book, evolve my business. And essentially you get to witness me evolving in life. So here's a couple things I want to share that's coming up in the upcoming episodes. First things first is I want to actually talk about what this evolution means and why it's so important. Every evolution requires surrendering into the unknown, right? And when you know who you are, which I do, and what you desire, which I do, and how I want it to feel, which I do, the unknown isn't even unknown, right? I just don't know how long it's going to take to do something. I don't know how exactly to do it. I don't know who all will be part of the journey or what new opportunities will come up or even who will meet me along the way or how it will look. But I am surrendering into who I am, what I desire, and how I want my life and legacy to feel. And so therefore, I know, I just don't know, if that makes sense. It's like there's no mystery of what I'm creating and the impact I want to have in the world. The texture and the taste of it will be a many number of things, right? It's like the medicine is the medicine, but the form that I deliver it in might be different. I know what's going to be in the package. I just don't know the wrapping, or rather the wrapping can change a lot of different ways, okay? You guys may not know this, but now you do. I always have plenty of metaphors and things to help us, I guess, imagine or personify or illuminate, there we go, and bring shape and form to a lesson that I'm teaching. And if you've been listening to the podcast or you've been a fan of mine and you're wondering, what is this tipping point that's made you move into this evolution, or what made you decide to change the format of the podcast, or even what's going on with all these different changes, I want to share with you what the tipping point was because it's kind of pretty funny. I actually was on a podcast tour It's a service that, an agency offers, which I really enjoyed and really loved. But also, I was starting to get completely turned off with some of the hosts. Like, can I just be honest? Okay, I'm gonna be honest because you guys know I keep it real. And this is not to be an asshole, it's just to be honest. I was finding that some of the hosts of the different podcasts were really like what I would describe as like spiritual high vibes. They're just like all about manifest, 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 or thinking that your mindset is the only way into your spirituality. And it just wasn't resonating. I feel like the nuance and depth of the work that I do, popping into someone else's podcast and someone else's platform just doesn't do me any justice. It's actually watering down my medicine and my magic, and it's making me into a commodity that did not feel good. And I was becoming more triggered and more annoyed with how people were responding to my work and me instead of just owning who I am and what the fuck I do, right? So I was like, fuck this. Like, thank you for the service. And don't get me wrong, there were some podcast hosts and experiences and recordings that were phenomenal. And those are the ones that I share on my social and write about in my blog and, all of those good things. They are some amazing people that I'm grateful that I met and connected with and was able to share wisdom and knowledge, really exchange wisdom and knowledge with. And then there was some people who were amazing, but we just weren't each other's cup of tea. And when you have enough cups of teas that don't resonate, you can't look at the tea or who made the tea. You got to look at who you are and why you keep going to the same space to drink the same fucking tea, right? Okay. Like I had to take a little bit of my own tough love medicine. So when I really dove into it, I was like, gosh, you're in a pattern of abandoning your own becoming journey. Like you need to come back to Ash. You need to come back to Ash Inspires. You need to come back to ancestral healing space. You need to come back to what you're creating in your own empire and of your own calling instead of going to other people's kingdoms and queendoms to share your wisdom. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not right for me in the season that I'm going into, right? So it's pretty funny. I had a couple people who were like, Ash, you're an incredible storyteller. And like, you shared so much medicine with my community. And like, I can't wait to release your episode. Like, you should start your podcast again. Like, when's your next season coming out? And I was like, when you have a lot of people say the same thing or ask you the same questions, you gotta kind of need to stop and look at that, right? Like, you gotta believe what people are saying, whether it's positive or negative, if a lot of people are saying the same things about you. So I realized that it was time to come off of my hiatus, revamp this podcast, refresh and revive it essentially with the energy that I am in now and take it to the next level. So here we are in the trailer, and I want to share with you what's coming up for this ongoing season. Now, if you came into season 1, that season was me just flowing, just channeling, just speaking from my heart. I never wrote scripts. I didn't know what the fuck I was going to say. And part of that was very liberating, and I needed to rip off the Band-Aid and just get into podcasting, and that's how it worked. But also it made me feel ungrounded and not as impactful in my words as I could have been. So kind of trailed off and was like, all right, season 2, I don't want to do it that way. Season 2, I went more into strategy and purpose and structure, and I worked with an amazing podcast coach, an amazing podcast agency. Shout out to you, Angie, and your whole team. And that was lovely because it kind of catered to my Capricornian 10th house energy, where I was like, yeah, I want things to make sense and I want to reuse the content and I want to be smart about the work that we do. Smart, 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 right? But it was eating away at the spiritual flow and the healing flow of my work and also what I want this podcast to be. And so it just still felt a little out of balance. And to be honest with you guys, it's kind of the reason why I didn't finish season 2. Like if you look at it, I think it was 2 or 3 more episodes I was supposed to do. And I was just like, meh, I'm bored. And if there's anything about me, I do not do shit I don't want to do. I'm really good at being like, no, that doesn't feel good. I might try to do it a little bit. And then I'm like, yeah, no, I can't do it. So I took all of 2022 off to reflect and kind of get into my creative energy. And now season 3 and beyond is really about sharing my wisdom, my teachings, and you guys' favorite part, I'm learning, my path. Because what I've learned is I do teach by living. That's not just a tagline that I've used a couple times. It's the truth. The way that I live my life, the way that I walk with spirit, the way that I guide my clients, and the way that I show up in my true, authentic spirit and energy is a blessing to many people. As Kanye says, my presence is a present. It's true. That's not to be an asshole or to be arrogant. It's just the motherfucking truth. And so every time that I teach and share about my journey and what I know and my wisdom, people come back and appreciate and say that was the best story. I got an understanding, I got clarity, and I really, really appreciate you, Ash. And it helped them in their life. So we're going to do more storytelling, more sharing of the breakthroughs in my own journey and seeing how that can support you. So essentially, with this evolution of the podcast, with this evolution of my message, huge evolution of my message, evolution in how I present my work, the evolution of my book that I've been working on, the evolution of my business, again, and also my own life, you guys are literally witnessing my evolution live through this podcast. Okay. And I think it's going to be fun. Like, I know a lot of people say that you're watching history in the making, but this time is like you're witnessing evolution live. So all that to say, if you have not listened to the previous seasons, all good. You're still in right timing. Just pick up from here. And if you did listen to the other seasons, I'd love to hear your feedback on how you like this transition. Yeah, and let's just see how we go. Okay, so here's what's up that's coming forward on It's Still Happening, the podcast all about stepping into your power as a woman, as a leader in your life, in your lineage, and in your legacy through ancestral healing, which is the only podcast who combines both practical embodiment and integration with ritual ancestral healing work to heal ancestral and generational patterns affecting you in your life. I don't know any other podcast that does it. And even if they do, they're not me. So welcome to my party. I'm not normally this sassy, but I'm having a lot of fun with this trailer right now. Here's what we're going to be covering moving forward. This is the stuff that's hot off the presses that I feel so excited to share with you. One is answering your questions about ancestral healing. Like, we just need a little bit more of that, especially because we have some new announcements and some new changes happening in the business as it relates to the services, how to get ancestral healing, how to learn about it, and all that good stuff. So I'm always going to still look through things via a lens of ancestors and breaking patterns, and also reclaiming gifts and blessings in your lineage. Another thing that's coming up is I'm going to be sharing how to move through the world as a generational pattern breaker. So I've been doing a lot of research about generational pattern breaking and curse breaking and looking over the notes of my clients over the last 8 years. And there is a trend, and I have mapped the trend, and I'm going to be teaching that trend through this podcast and also my upcoming book. So the next thing is obviously the book writing journey. I really want to have a space to talk about what it's been like so far, which I don't want to give away too much, but it's been a journey and the book isn't even fully written yet. Like, we got at least maybe, I don't know, 10 more months to go. We'll see. But yeah, I'm going to be taking you guys through the book writing journey for me and just having a space to document that. That's beneficial to y'all instead of just in my personal Voxer notes and like journals. I'm going to be taking you through and initiating you through stages of womanhood. Like, y'all, yeah, I don't want to say again, I'm just giving you the overview of the season and what's to come to get you excited. But womanhood, motherhood, femininity, like the wisdom of your maternal line is strong this year. And I'm so excited to be bringing some of that wisdom and teachings to the podcast because I know it's going to support y'all and I know it's going to light a fire into your womanhood journey, or those of you who identify as women or femmes. Another topic on the podcast this season is my conscious business journey and talking about entrepreneurship. If you've been around my world for a while, you would have seen that I really used to help a lot of people in their businesses as a spiritual branding strategist because I have a background actually in advertising and brand strategy. And I've kind of evolved from that and really just had a small set of clients that I would work with relating to business, but it's really moved into this ancestral healing and woman becoming journey. Okay, I just kind of gave you a lot of of that evolution right now. And I want to have a space to talk more about online entrepreneurship, coaching entrepreneurship, mentorship, and being a spiritual guide to people. And also in a different way. Like, I'm not a medium having one-off sessions with people. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about motherhood. We're going to be talking about our relationship to men and the masculine. I'm going to be talking about money and wealth, spiritual practice, everyday, practical, powerful, energetic hygiene and maintenance, my travels and what lights me up and adventure and so much more slash whatever arises. So if you haven't realized it yet, this podcast is really moving into a lifestyle and teaching podcast. It is going to be real. It's going to be down to earth. It's going to have some bonuses that you'll only be able to access in a special, unique way and all the things, right? So besides reintroducing the podcast, I wouldn't be me if I didn't share some type of takeaway. And there is a takeaway, right? This isn't just a teaser, a trailer to get you excited, even though I know that's what it's supposed to be. I do have some homework for you in order to get into the vibe, the new vibe of It's Still Happening podcast and to join me in this rebirth, if you will. One, I want you to take away this evidence, all right? Evidence. If you have your notebooks out, go ahead and write down evidence with a colon. This is evidence, and I am modeling to you that you can do it messy. You can do whatever the hell you want to do, and you can do it very messy. You can serve people while you're still becoming. I am still walking my path of freedom. I am still creating my path in life. I am still defining, polishing, and redefining myself as a woman, as a human, as a healer, as a mother, as a guide, all these different things, as a creative, as an artist, as a muse, right? All these titles I and also you carry. And so sometimes we think that we can't show up until it's perfectly polished or we have all the certificates and things and accolades, which yes, I do have those things, but those things are not making me show up any less human than what I still am. You know what I'm saying? So here's the evidence that you can do it messy. This podcast trailer right now that I'm recording, I had to record it twice because the first one I was being like weird and kind of perfectionist and it just wasn't as authentic as how I'm speaking right now. And at first I was like, oh, I'm going to release it. And I was like, no, I think we could do one more take and let it feel good. And this feels good. But if you go back and listen to season 1 and season 2, you're going to hear the difference, right? You get to be messy and evolve. Okay. So here's the evidence, me speaking, showing up and sharing all this stuff. And really this whole season, these first episodes are really going to be evidence for you that you can do this too. The second thing that I want you to write down is the lesson learned. Here's a big takeaway from this trailer. The lesson here is that you do have to trust yourself to fall into your process. You have to trust yourself to fall into yourself, which means stop believing yourself if you want to be seen and recognized as the fill in the blank that you are. So I know that I'm a powerful healer. I know that I'm an incredible teacher. I know that I'm an awesome muse, creative, entrepreneur, empowered woman. Yet I was going to other people's platforms instead of taking the time and energy to continually build my own. Was that a smart strategy? Of course it was. Like borrowing other people's platforms, connecting, networking, collaborating is a great thing. But it is not a great thing if you keep abandoning and leaving your own queendom, your own empire. And that's what I was doing, and I didn't even realize it. So you have to trust yourself to fall into your own process. You have to trust yourself to fall into yourself. That's the lesson that I want you to walk away with today and also this new season. The third takeaway for you is an inquiry, because I would never leave you, even in a trailer, without some homework. I want to know, where are you avoiding, putting off, or outsourcing your process to other people to make it easy, to get there faster, to make it look a certain way, or because that's what other people have told you, or because you're doubting yourself, or because whatever the hell you're doing. Like, where are you doing that in your own life? Sit with that as a journal prompt and decide what you're going to do about it. And the final thing I want to leave you with in today's trailer is inspiration, because I wouldn't be Ash Inspires, which is my Instagram handle, by the way, if you didn't know. I think it's also my TikTok, but I wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be Ash Inspires if I didn't leave you with some inspiration, which I know the episode is inspirational, but here's the inspiration. Decide that you are enough even in your infancy, or even in your teenage years, or even in your imperfection, especially those of us who are old souls. When you're an old soul, such as I am, spiritually, I am recognized as an elder. But in my body and my physicality right now, and in the media and in the ecosphere that we're in, I'm not. And so deciding that you're enough and the stage that you're in is what I want you to do. If that's meant for you, you can do that. The second piece of inspiration here is that you do have permission to take your fucking time. Trust your process and return to your creational journey over and over and over again, no matter how it looks. Like, I took a whole year off of this podcast. I started this podcast out with a boom at 2021. I've been on all these other people's podcasts, and like, I don't know, I just feel it now. I know that I have things to say, like more than enough, and I know that it's going to be helpful for you. So, those are the takeaways that I'd love for you to marinate on. If it resonates and you're excited for the return of It's Still Happening podcast, the only podcast that's for the woman called to be the change she wants to see in the world, in her lineage, and in her life, please share this. Post it on Instagram, share it wherever you're hanging out on social media, put it in your email list for all I care. Like, I do care, and that would be great. Tag me when you do at Ash Inspires, and that would just light up my life. I'm really feeling the vibe of the podcast revamp. And I want to shout out my love, my amazing fiance, my team who've supported me with rebirthing this work. I couldn't do it without you guys. I'm so appreciative and I'm so excited what we're creating together. And I can't wait for all of us listening to It's Still Happening podcast to connect in the upcoming episodes. I'm sending you lots of love wherever you are. Thank you for being here. Let me know if you're as excited about all the things coming up in this new season and the new format change in the season by hitting me up and sharing on social. Bye. That's a wrap for this episode of It's Still Happening. Thank you for listening in and being a part of my journey. It means so much to me. Here's what's next. I'd love to know what you got out of this episode, so leave a review about it before you go. And afterwards, make sure that you rate, subscribe if you aren't already, and share this podcast on social media. You can find me on Instagram at Ash Inspires. And if you'd like to connect on a deeper level, check out my website and hop on my email list. All the links you need are in the show notes. Until next time, may you continue walking your unique path of freedom with conviction, courage, and compassion. I'm sending you love wherever you are.